3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so welcome to the 3D Sculpt and Chill. This is my little game that I wanted to create in Blender. I'm still learning Blender. I'm pretty terrible. You can see I'm trying to learn bevels and how to use. This is the main difference between Nomad and Blender is Blender is great for all of this stuff. See those edges and the vertices and the faces? You can manipulate all of them at once. You can manipulate them individually, but it also, it makes for a lot of problem solving, especially for me, because I don't think in Blender terms. So that makes it quite difficult for me. So a lot of what I'm doing now is using Booleans. So you can do that in Blender where you take a shape and then you use that to cut out a different shape. And me being new with Blender, some things just feel easier to do by using Booleans. Topology is really important, but my topology in Blender is pretty bad, but I'm getting better at it. And I'm slowly learning little things that, that help me sculpt things the way that I want them to look. It's just a completely different way of thinking. To me, it feels more like engineering, and I just don't have a mind like that because I'm not used to Blender. I think my mind is more like an artsy mind, so that's why sculpting in Nomad is really intuitive for me. Blender for me is not intuitive at all. As you can see, what I'm really trying to do here is bevel out the edges. I find it really hard to just get nice round edges. Obviously there's a few different ways to bevel. You can just use the bevel tool and you can select either the edges or the things like that. Here I'm trying to make the directional pad and I just can't get it to bevel the way that I want it to bevel. This was like kind of the best that I could do. It really didn't feel right. This always happens. I'll be working on something and then afterwards I'll find some tutorials that show me exactly what I wanted to do. In this case, later on, after I had already made that directional pad, I found a tutorial showing me how to make the edges curve the way I want them to curve. And not like the outside edges, but like the inner like corner edges. I don't know, they just didn't look right. I like things to be very particular. And here I'm trying to figure out how to get those buttons. And I was able to do it with, I think I wound up doing it with a cylinder. Here I'm trying to do it with a sphere. I'm trying to cut the sphere in half and then stretch the vertices, but I'm doing it with, this is the right way. It's just I had a setting that was not allowing it to curve on top. I don't remember what the issue was, even when I fixed it, because eventually I fix it, but so eventually I figured out whatever setting I had. That was, all of these things are taking me like 20 minutes to figure out, 15 minutes to figure out, a half an hour to figure out. So it is a bit mind-numbing for me working in Blender, but there's just something like this is much easier in Blender because you can just manipulate the vertices and the faces and things like that. So faces are just like each individual plane. Vertices are the points, and edges are like those black lines at the edges. And now I'm using this website just to get some text. Although afterwards I figured out that you can just do text right in Blender. So I wound up kind of experimenting with that a little bit after the fact. Actually, I tried to do that. When I looked it up, I realized that if I wanted to get that plus symbol, I can probably just look up a plus symbol on the keyboard and use that. But later on I wound up making a plane, and that little bit was tricky. I wanted to get that middle line going down the center like a slice through the Game Boy, so that was kind of interesting to figure that out using, I think, loop cuts or what they're called. And here I'm just trying to make the little vents and things like that. So by now I'm pretty happy. Now I'm just kind of farting around, seeing what I can get, making little details, but essentially it's done. So the only part I didn't film was like me figuring out the colors and the lighting. I had a few cool renders and finally got to something I like, and then I started with the animation. So here's the animation. So I'm really getting used to adding a lot of lights, making it very moody. getting the camera movement, slight camera movements, light movements, and also I have the little things floating around. So all of these things I picked up through different tutorials and just looking at other artists and seeing what they're doing. But here's the animation again, just so you can check it out without me yapping through it. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to go more in depth, then definitely check out my Skillshare classes where I am a top teacher. I have about 50 classes, both Procreate and Nomad Sculpt. I also have a few classes on Udemy, so if you want to learn more, or you just like my style, you like the way I teach, you want to support me, those are some other places that you can do it. Thanks again, keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.